There's their stories, and there's other stories.
Nate had a friend who actually was security for Will Smith, Charlie Mack, first out the limo. He said, look, we're going to be at the Powerhouse, blah, blah, day. And then he said, y'all should come and meet Will.
Well, I heard that they had one pass and they kept passing it to the other and they snuck in. And I thought that was like, from where we're from, the streets, that's just what you do. I think that's all a part of the desire and the will to be seen and to be heard.
We didn't have tickets, so they put us back to the side of the stage, and we're watching Paula Abdul come in, Keith Sweat, Sherelle.
And I come around the corner, and then they go, yo, babe, you gotta listen. So before I could even say anything, they just started singing.
By the time we finished, everybody had surrounded us. All the people, all the artists that had come into the side entrance.
I just thought they sounded good, and I wasn't going to tell them they sounded better than us. I think I was just being nice and gave them the number to the only number I knew by heart.
Well, we were always big New Edition fans, you know what I'm saying? We in high school, we listened to them. I mean, they were like the modern day Temptations to us, so those are the ones that we looked at.
Nate did call, and he called every night for like 2 or 3 weeks. And he said, man, I think you can manage us. I said, what?
Hey, that's right. This is the gentleman who was responsible.
He saw something in me I didn't even see in myself. If it wasn't for Nate Morris, I would have never been a music executive.
So, Mike, say something. Yeah. This is Mr. Michael Bivins. Hey, how y'all doing over there?
The Superman himself.
They're pushing it down. I just know that they with me. I'm in BBD, I'm hot, and I'm doing this shit. And somebody's gonna give me what I need. I was the most disrespectful, respectful young man you've ever met. I was trying to bring the sound of Motown, the sound of Philly, bringing Powerhouse's names together to represent how I wanted them to be identified.
They're telling you their own story in the lyrics of the song. It's the most meta possible debut you could have. You're commenting on your own breakthrough in your debut single. I think before we even heard the first note from Boyz II Men, they let us know how they wanted to be defined. Their aesthetic was different from what we were seeing some of the other men in R&B do at that time. I would always be embarrassed when my dad would get in my car and would hear my Jodeci music in there. Some of it was a little raunchier. A lot raunchier. Boyz II Men was like the music that your grandmother also liked to listen to. They literally were just good boys next door. It was just so smartly marketed.
We look like lifesavers. We definitely were walking down the street. People were beeping their horns and pointing at us.
Right.
But Biv didn't give up. Like, he was very resilient, and he had a vision. And most of the time, the vision was right. And it was right in this case.
I see you. You're down there. You're fixing them all up. You're into this management thing now, huh?
Oh yeah, they're like my little brothers. When I put the bow tie on them, I just wanted them to be respectful. And I knew it would give them some type of crossover appeal.
When we classify groups as R&B and pop, I think what generally differentiates the two is usually the race of the artist that's making them or the audience that they're serving. And radio back then, of course, was very much segregated. So Boyz II Men was able to go and do interviews on the R&B and hip hop stations.
Would y'all yell hi to my daughter Dawn real quick?
They were able to go to the classic soul stations and then pop music stations.
Boys to men, everybody.
So they were really able to kind of move freely in different spaces that not a lot of artists were able to move into.
That image kind of allowed us to kind of ride back and forth where Black people still respected us for what we were doing and how we looked, and white people were able to embrace it because we didn't look offensive. It's just really that simple.
They projected the look better than they realized. And guess what it did? It totally separated them from anything moving in the music business.
The album is number 1 on the R&B charts according to Billboard and number 5 on the pop charts. Everyone else seems to love it. I'm sure you at home. Ladies and gentlemen, Boyz II Men.
I think the popularity of Boyz II Men in the 1990s took a lot of people by surprise. You know, you had a black boy band who was continuously crossing over into the pop charts.
Normally what will happen with an R&B group is they will break first with a black audience or at black radio and then cross pop. Boyz II Men were big at pop radio from the jump.
I don't consider them pop or R&B. I just consider them fucking singers because that's what they are.
All we really wanted to do was sing with each other and be the best singers there was and sound better than anybody else. And as the success is climbing, we're in the hotel room, we're in the car, we're in the bathroom, we're figuring out how we can arrange this song.
They always be like, yo, this is your note. This is your note. You sing this note right here.
Let's do it right there. We're very meticulous because we don't want to sound whack.
Hey guys, could you do the intro of Motown Philly? The dun dun da da part? I can sing so
We're
maybe.
taking advantage of it a lot. They were like, hey, can you sing us a jingle? Hey, sing my mom's name. We just gotta get ready to just figure it out.
The thing you're asking for,
We could come up with it, but we want to get it right.
One more time. Just give me a little. Okay, so I'll scratch the question where I asked you to demonstrate.
See?
Yeah, that's the problem. Everybody thinks that, wow, you guys can just sing anything. Do it now. It's not that easy.
Hi, we're Boyz II Men and Wild Countdown, Wild Countdown.
Prior to Boyz II Men, for your athletic prowess in singing, you went to a Whitney or a Mariah. They put that really Olympic level singing in the context of a vocal group, something that I don't think anybody had really seen before.
I can remember once I asked Milli Vanilli to do it, they couldn't.
Milli Vanilli had just did the thing at the award show. So the whole lip syncing thing was a big thing. They put lip syncing under their boots.
And if we get to see tomorrow, I hope it's worth it's so hard to sing and ride to yesterday.
It just wasn't their voices. It really was the commitment. And I think if anybody's willing to dig that deep, then success is around the corner.
Boyz II Men had Motown Philly, and so they had kind of already opened up a door where people were looking at them like, oh, that's interesting. They're cool. And they were just the group that made sense to do this record into the road, because I kind of wrote it in a whole kind of Philly kind of way, old, Philly kind of song. And so it seemed like they sung Motown Philly, so why not? We didn't know that moment there that we were kind of like, making history as what's happening.
This is the truth of End of the Road, what you're getting the exclusive. So one day, LA's assistant calls me in the office and says, LA wants to talk to you. He's like, yo, Bev, I'm doing the movie, I'm doing the soundtrack, and I gotta do this record with the boys, man. And I'm like, who? He's like, Boys to Men. I said, get the fuck out. He said, yeah, man. And I said, cool. I'm gonna play it for the boys. I invited them over the next day to the crib in my living room. I had a little projector, I had a sound system, and the big ass speakers. I was amped. I'm smiling and shit. I'm very Hollywood and animated. I'm like, yes, they're gonna love this shit. So we cocks it in. Boom. We belong together. It's Babyface. I'm like, fuck, another ballad, but I don't give a shit. It's LA and Babyface. And then when it's over, I'm like, so what do you think? And then they go, it's alright. I go, huh?
Juan and I liked it. Nate, not so much. He thought it was just okay. And
Juan, I think that was Island Love to you.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. He was like, hey.
No, you're right.
He was like, it's all right. I was done. Okay, Babyface singing it so we can sing it.
I thought it was all right.
So we have some words. I go, listen, we doing this motherfucker song. You still with me? And so I had to go the next day to go see Joe. My mentor, my everything, the boss of all bosses, Joe Busby. Like, yo, I got this record, LA and Babyface, and we need to do it, Joe. And he was like, can't you see him on the phone? Joe was real ruthless sometimes. So I just kind of started backpedaling slow. And I called Charlotte and I said, put LA on. She said, hold on. I said, LA, Joe loves the fucking record, man. He thinks it's the best shit we could have ever done in our life.
When I believe we were on tour
We
with
were on
Hammer.
Hammer. Flew into Philly for a day, and then recorded it, turned around and got back out.
I don't know what the fuck happened, but my phone rang at 6 in the morning. Joe says, Michael F.M. Bivens. And I'm sitting up, I'm scared. He said, there's a fucking record on the radio I know nothing about. Excuse me, Joe, but remember I told you about the record that I never played for you? He said, the fucking record's taken off. I said, oh, and then he goes, Bivens, yes, this is the greatest shit you've ever done. But it worked out for all of us. You belong together. And I don't give a shit who was rocking before that record came out. The mood of the room switched from that first love.
It's very calm and just sneaks up on me.
They don't start at 11. They start at a 4, and they let it build until you get to the chorus.
Looking at your lady, she's looking at you.
It's probably one of the most beautifully recorded songs of all time. They allow their voices to just hang in the air and just truly stab you a little bit.
Boys and Men and myself, we sing sad songs. It's love songs, but also sad. Sad songs singing people. There's something beautiful about the pain sometimes.
I don't believe that we really started learning how to be true recording artists until that session. He helped us understand that there's more to music than just singing.
Wanye was singing, baby, just don't let me down. When people flew in, like, he cracked. Wanye actually cracked. Like, that's a crack. Like, his voice cracked. My voice would change and I couldn't sing soft. And I cracked a lot. And I always wanted to go back. All right, do it one more time. And Babyface was like, nah, we're keeping that. And it worked. The emotion was felt.
At that point, all four of them were there. Michael, we had the bass voice, and so we could really go with the old school R&B. Baby, issues. That was kind of like, let's have fun with it.
You just don't understand how much I love you, do you? I'm here for you.
And then you had Wanya, who would go completely crazy. You couldn't quite sing along with it, but you tried to. Each one of them could make lyrics come alive and make emotion come alive. They came into the road because they sung it.
If someone thinks that they can really sing, they attempt to sing End of the Road.
Till the end of the road, still I can't let go. It's so natural.
You belong to me.
I belong to you.
Although we come to the end of the
Don't try and sing that song if you're playing. Don't do that, because you'll get embarrassed. Singers sing that song.
I wish I could say we knew we was gonna be big like this, you know what I'm saying? So we just went in and just did the record and told them that, you know, this is a hit, watch this. I wish I could say that, but that's not what it was.
You feel like something feels good, but you still don't know what the rest of the world's going to, how they're going to react. You just cross your fingers and hope that you got something.
Pop radio loved them so much they ate the record up, and that's how we got to 13 weeks. And we beat Elvis Presley's record from 1958.
It beat a roughly 36-year-old record by Elvis Presley, a record so old it actually technically predated the Hot 100.
Yes.
Then that's when it started getting your mind to turning like, okay, well, guys, what else can we do?
They put out another Babyface ballad. It explodes out of the gate. I'll Make Love to You was #1 for 14 weeks. It actually beats the record Boyz II Men set with End of the Road. They do it again in late 95 and early 96. One Sweet Day was #1 for 16 weeks. Basically, Boyz II Men were kind of blockading the charts at this time.
And you can say it's red and it'll be blue and everybody will say it's red because that's how hot you are.
Everything that, we touched at a certain point in time turned to gold.
When Bill Clinton got in office, he called us. To be from the hood of Philly, to walk with the Secret Service on the lawn of the White House is serious business.
To watch them perform and to see the reaction to it, all ages, and not just that, but an audience that was probably 85 to 90% white. That was very unique in 1995 for sure. There was still that boy band that was a unique boy band because no one was there doing that yet. That was until the other guys came. Here comes Backstreet Boys and Sync. 98 Degrees. I think that's what changed the game for Boyz II Men, actually.
Part of being in a boy band back in those days was obviously all the teen bags. So Super Teen, Tiger Beat, Teen Beat, and a lot of bad hairstyles, as you can see from this picture. This was called the Yellow Thorn. I mean, there's really nothing you can say about any of this, honestly, other than I have deep regret. If you ask any of the groups that we're talking about, whether it's Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or obviously 90 Degrees, I think that every single one will tell you the Boyz II Men was a huge influence on them. If you were in a guy vocal group, they were the benchmark. So I think we all were influenced in different ways. And maybe us more so than the others because we were on Motown in a very similar vein, 4-part versus 5-part. I mean, there were a lot of similarities that weren't necessarily unintentional.
Boyz II Men inspired a lot of almost every group that happened after them. They couldn't quite sing like them, but they were certainly going down that road.
They looked like the white version of Boyz II Men, quite frankly. I mean, they looked almost exactly like those guys. And they sounded like them too. They knew how to harmonize and layer much in the same ways that Boyz II Men did.
You know, they had flavor where they didn't have flavor before.
We had moved from LA to New York because our label wanted us to get a little urban edge to us. You know, our whole mentality was not fluff, was not pop. We wanted to be an R&B harmony group. That's what we wanted to do, and that's what we did.
So you guys are signed to Motown Records.
That's right. We're very proud. We're very proud to be on the label with so many artists that inspired us, such as Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, The Temptations, Boyz II Men.
Right? These boys want to be black, but they are not. But they are presenting as having the swagger of hip hop. But of course, these boy bands sold even bigger numbers than any of the R&B vocal groups in the first half of the 90s.
So it was kind of a happy accident, really, that we became a boy band, I guess.
Boyz II Men is dominating the pop charts. And then all of a sudden, these white acts come along who are basically racial mirrors of what Boyz II Men is doing, but they're white, and their success is not seen as being part or related to what Boyz II Men did before.
And that's been around since Elvis and fucking Chuck Berry.
When you want to get the cool new stuff, you go check out what the young black kids are doing. People will be watching on the pop side, like, what can I use? What can I grab? What's going to make me cooler?
Other groups came in and took the moniker or whatever. It's not easy to deal. Yeah, I mean, we started very young. So we were in our early to mid 20s when all these groups started, you know, so-called skyrocketing past us.
There wasn't anything at that time that was as big as us. We rolled the middle. We appealed to black fans, black girls, let me be specific, and white girls, okay? So in comes some white boys that sound similar, and we all know the pop charts are a lot larger than the urban charts, from the audience to the budgets to the whole 9 yards.
Not to mention, they don't have to cross over.
They don't
They're
have to cross over,
instantly
yeah.
placed in their genre.
We had to work twice as hard to get to what their birthright was.
Went from the 4 black kids on the bedroom wall to the 5 white kids on the bedroom wall. What looked more appropriate?
I think Boyz II Men in the 1990s had to negotiate this very fine line, given the history of the ways that a black man could have been arrested for just looking at a white woman in America only 40, 50 years before.
Boyz II Men were huge, and their audience was a majority white crowd. I don't know that in their homes that you had posters of Boyz II Men on the wall. How could you find a poster on a wall? That's really what it was. That's what it came down to me.
They had about 5 amazing years, and then it tailed off rather quickly by the late 90s, despite coming off of what was a diamond-selling album. The boy bands are now the leading edge of mainstream pop. Simultaneously, on the R&B side, R&B has fused even more tightly with hip-hop.
You know, the R&B music inflected with hip hop. You know, Boyz II Men wasn't making that kind of music. They tried it with the first album, but what gave them better success were the big stadium ballads, and that's where they went.
increasingly it became a problem for Boyz II Men, especially with the rise of like Southern hip hop in the late 1990s, who had a lot more kind of flavor and juice in their music, but also represented a certain kind of blackness that they couldn't really represent because they were representing something that was anachronistic. It was a throwback to another era. They were always represented as these kinds of old souls in these young bodies. Boyz II Men really capturing a kind of style in black culture that harkened all the way back to the 1940s and 1950s, in which if you were making popular music, you put on a suit. You did it in a kind of aspirational way that was connected to the desire for black achievement and black empowerment. They didn't represent the present or the future anymore. They represented only the past.
We had just finished selling out Madison Square Garden. I'm talking about at least in the 6 digits per night. You know what I'm saying? We were just killing it, and we took a break. We went on the road, and we ended up at this place called Puffer Bellies. It was a 500 capacity club. A mechanical bull was in the middle of the floor, and it was 50 people there. We actually looked at each other and was like, should we even still be doing this? Michael didn't really want to be a singer. He wanted to be an accountant. And when Boyz II Men took off, I mean, the alternative was success. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And, so he felt success with us for a great amount of time. It wasn't until the chips were down, the decline to a certain extent, that we decided to mutually part ways. I don't know if anyone else has told you anything else, but I'm going to cut it right there.
We could love each other, all our heart and minds and bodies. But like in any relationship, you can love someone to death, but when you don't respect them anymore, that's when things start to fall
Relationship's
apart.
over. We're a 4-part harmony singing group, and we had to actually become a tripod. We had to try to figure it out, and we did.
The respect that we had for music and the respect that we had for each other allowed us to sustain all the bad times when people try to pull one, you could be a solo artist, or you could do this. We had the respect for each other that I'm not doing that to my guys, but knowing that when things were bad, that we had each other's back because we love each other.
The option for Vegas came on the table, and I opposed it totally.
Nah, there's nobody. Okay, also.